our cap off, just use a straight blade screwdriver. Use a 22mm socket, take the lug nuts off. Take the wheel off. Now I just need to take the caliper with the bracket off altogether. I'm not going to take it off separately. I'm going to use an 18mm socket and remove the bracket bolts. And slide the caliper off. Now I'll just use a brake caliper hanger. Just hang it just like that. Just make sure there's no tension on the brake hose. And then take the rotor and slide it off. And if it's stuck on there pretty good, then you can use a hammer and just hit in these areas. Make sure the parking brake's not on. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to take these two bolts out and then the two on the other side. I'm just going to use a pry bar just to prevent it from spinning. Use a 11mm wrench, loosen these up. And loosen those up. Take those caps off. And same on the other side. Now take a pry bar, get underneath here, and just pry the drive shaft forward. Just like that. You might have to work it back and forth a little bit if it's rusted. Just be careful to not have these caps pop off. If you want, you can take some electrical tape and just tape the caps on there. These are okay. I'll just slide the drive shaft out of the way. You might get a little fluid out of the transfer case. All right, so what you want to do before you take this off and before you take the nut off is just feel how the rotating torque feels, because when you put this back together, you're going to want it to feel the same way, if not maybe just a little bit tighter. That's why you have the rotors off, so that there's no drag from the rotors or from the wheels. What you're supposed to do is take a socket, a 1 1/4 socket, and then if you have a torque wrench that has a dial on it, then you can check the rotating torque and see what it is. If you don't, do the best you can with what you got. All right, so a little bit looser than that. So about 20 inch-pounds with this torque wrench. But you really want a dial torque wrench to do it properly. Now take a 1 1/4 inch socket and remove the nut. Be careful. Use a magnet. Just remove this washer. Now I'm going to use a 2-jaw puller and remove this. They do make special pullers for these, but you can use what you can. Use what you got. I just put the bolts back in so I can pry in the bolts and not the puller. And just tighten this up. It's a good idea to have a drain bucket underneath just in case some fluid comes out when you get this off. All right, let's slide that off. All right, there's different seal pullers you can use. You can try a seal puller like this. A lot of times though, when you use a seal puller like this, it'll rip the seal. Doesn't really help too much. And see, just ripped the seal. Now I'm going to take a pry bar, or you can use a straight blade screwdriver and just a hammer. Just try to get under the seal. Now you can try using the seal puller again. There we go. And pull the seal right out. Just wipe this out with a rag. If there's excessive rust in here, you can use a little bit of sandpaper or emery cloth, but you don't want any of that getting into the bearings right there. All right, now take the seal, and you can use a seal installer if you have one. If you don't, use something you can find that is going to seat on the outside of the seal. This just happens to be an old bearing for another vehicle. Just slide that over, make sure that's lined up. Just take a block of wood and give it a tap. Tap it in there. Yeah, it looks good. Just wipe the seal down. With the new yoke, you're going to want to take some Teflon pipe sealer and just put it on the threads on the inside here. And that's just going to seal the fluid from the inside so it doesn't come out the yoke itself. Now take the yoke and slide it in position. And just take a rubber mallet, give it a couple taps. Try to be even with it. And take the new washer and the new nut. Get that started. All right, so we're gonna go tighten this up. We need to be careful. You don't wanna over tighten it. You don't wanna tighten it to the point where this won't move, where the pinion won't move. So just be careful. Just keep checking it. We want to get back to where it was when we took it apart. All right, so now once you get close, you're going to want to check it. Let's see. I'm still not where I was before, so keep tightening it. It is a good idea once you get close, start tightening it by hand, not using the gun. Just put a couple bolts in there, use a pry bar. I think you can get a good feel for when it actually bottoms out. All right, I'll give it a check. Maybe just a little bit more. You want it to be almost 5 inch-pounds more than when you took it apart. All right, that's perfect. And you don't want to loosen it up, so make sure you don't. You're better off just tightening a little bit at a time. And we're good. All right, so that's exactly how we want it to be. I can take these bolts out. We can put the drive shaft back in. Slide the drive shaft back into the transfer case. And line it up back here. All right, now put these caps back on and the bolts. And take your 11mm socket and a pry bar and just snug these down. And then we're gonna torque them. Make sure the U-joint is tightened all the way down and there's no air gaps in there. Now we're gonna tighten these down to 18 foot-pounds. All right, now we want to top off the rear differential. Everything's sealed up. You could do this when you're done, or you could do it right now. Pull out the fill plug. Check your owner's manual and use the appropriate rear differential fluid. All right, and that's full. You want it to trickle out a little bit, and you can be within 10 millimeters from the fill plug. So as long as the fluid's right in that section right there, then you'll be good. And take the fill plug, put the fill plug back in. You can put a little pipe sealer on that if you want. And snug this up. That's good. Take the rotor, put the rotor back on. Take the caliper, take the hanger off the caliper, and just line it up over the rotor. Take the caliper bolts. You can put some thread locking compound on those bolts. Now I'm going to torque these bolts to 120 foot-pounds. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And reinstall the wheel. Put the lug nuts on. Now I'm going to torque these lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds in a star pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check. And reinstall the center cap.